Good news for Philadelphia heading into Game 4 as Joel Embiid returns after a 2.5-week absence following emergency appendectomy surgery in Houston. They needed him and everybody else to come up big to try to even this series up. Embiid down the lane early on. Sixers lead by 1. First bucket of the game on the way to 26-10. But the story of this game were the threes for the Celtics. I don't think anybody in the league's better at beating the buzzer than Peyton Pritchard. He's off the wrong foot. Stanford Steve said this would screw me up. I agree. I don't know how he did it. Here's the call from our friend Mike Tirico.
Pritchard time. So good at the end of quarters. Is he going to do it again? Is he going to do it again? He did it again!
Nobody better beating the buzzer than that guy. 18 in the first half for Pritchard. Celtics have a huge lead. It continues. Jaylen Brown steps into a three. That's bottoms. The lead's 20. Now it's Jayson Tatum. The remarkable comeback continues. Of course, tore his Achilles last year in the playoffs against the Knicks. He's back and fantastic. Now it's Pritchard again, a playoff career high of 32. Give me all 3 of these. 24 threes in the game for the Celtics. That is a franchise record. They're rolling in this one. Tatum again. He had 30, 7 boards, 11 assists. And y'all got to do better than this. Tough one for Philly as Embiid returns, but not nearly enough. Tatum dominant again Sunday, 3rd career playoff game with 30 and 10, breaking a tie with Larry Legend for the 2nd most in Celtics history. Tatum trails only John Havlicek, who did it 4 times.
Because Joel Embiid went from doubtful to in, and then it didn't matter. The Celtics powering up after 2 games where this series looked pretty tight. Peyton Pritchard, one of the great stories in the NBA, in all honesty. But Tatum and Brown just doing great. But you talked to Embiid after the game today. I don't know what you want to say. I actually haven't talked to you about it. I haven't even heard what he said. So you'll educate me right now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how much there is to say about it, really. Like, he obviously came back after 2.5 weeks out. He only really got to go up and down once before playing today. Was understandably rusty with his shot. Still ended up with 26, 10, 6, which is sort of an indication of just the immense talent that Joel is. But look, in 2 games in this series, Philly's gotten run off the court. In one of the one game they won in this series, the Celtics went 13 for 50 from 3. And to me, the only stat that really matters from the series is Boston is plus 87 from the 3-point line through 4 games. They're essentially outscoring the Sixers by 22 points a game from 3. That's just not a sustainable thing for the opponent. And the Sixers got in a hole today and couldn't get out of it. I mean, Embiid said he had some complications after the surgery. He's back now. I mean, I thought he moved around okay, but, they couldn't get a rebound. The Celtics had more offensive rebounds in the first quarter than the Sixers had in just about the entire game. They didn't make a 5th 3-pointer until midway through the 3rd quarter. They just got bludgeoned, and they're going to have to be a heck of a lot better if they want to get this series back here for a Game 6.
Peyton Pritchard had 32 points in 35 minutes. Let me ask. Derrick White continues to have non-impactful or almost negative impactful offensive performances. Is that going to show up? Is that going to be an issue at some point here?
I mean, I certainly think it could be an issue. Now, I thought it was big. He had a couple threes today. He was 2 for 4 from 3, but he definitely has had confidence issues shooting the ball in the past. He's had some confidence issues, I would say, so far in this series. So again, going 2 for 4 today, I think is a step in the right direction. And the Celtics are obviously the better team here. They should wrap this series up. But going forward, the Celtics need Derrick White to be really good if they want to get where they want to go. And he still makes a bunch of winning plays. Even the other night in Game 3, when he couldn't make a shot, he still, like Alex Caruso, popped up and made 2 or 3 of the biggest plays of the game, got 2 massive offensive rebounds.
Nobody questions his defense or intangibles. I agree.
No, so he can, my point is, even if he's not making shots, he will still find ways to impact the game. He is a lot like Caruso, but he's typically been a much better shooter than Caruso.
He's more important to them than Caruso is to the Thunder.
Yeah, but they've got three big time scores. If Pritchard had a dud of a series until today, but Pritchard can really fill it up. And then Tatum's playing great. Brown like those guys are all NBA players, Tatum and Brown. So they've got two all NBA players and the best sixth man in basketball.
If Pritchard and White are hitting threes, they can beat anybody in the league. If one of them is hitting threes, they can beat a lot of teams. And if neither of them are hitting threes, they run into trouble. And that is really how the first, that was what happened in game 2. Like nobody hit threes. They went 13 for 50 and they lost. But this team does not have the same kind of firepower it did in the past. So those are their 4 guys. And then, Sam Hauser will chip in. Barrow Shireman will chip in. Like those other guys will make some shots. But those 4 dudes, Pritchard, White, and the 2 stars, they're going to be playing the bulk of the minutes. And if the 4 of them are hitting threes, Celtics are going to be in pretty good shape.
Yeah, well, they made 24 today. But I think that was very succinct the way you put that. You should do this for a living. Okay, let's go to Toronto. There's several different statistics out there. You can choose which one you want. But the Raptors had the worst shooting day of a team that won a playoff game since the 70s.
It was just a hideous game. Let's just call it like it is. Teams played hard, but it was ugly basketball.
Yeah, they did. Yes, after the game, Kenny Atkinson was like applauding the Cavs for their fight. And I guess I would just say that, Toronto, Brandon Ingram had a few moments in this game. A few. In so much as that he hit a couple of big baskets. He was still 6 of 23.
I was just looking that up. I'm like, he had a lot more bricks.
Like RJ Barrett had a few plays in this game. He was 8 of 22.
They shot 32% from the floor as a team and won the game.
I mean, and they were down like 8 or 9 with like 5 minutes to go. And I think the Cavs didn't get a defensive rebound for the last 5 minutes of the game. The Raptors kept getting offensive rebounds.
Teams that fight tend to get defensive rebounds over a 5-minute span, I think.
Yeah. So look, I'm just going to say,
and there were defensive rebounds to be had. Trust me.
So this has really been a series that, in my view, totally personifies the James Harden, Donovan Mitchell postseason experience. Donovan Mitchell has 11 playoff games in his career where he has scored 38 or more points. He's got 3 50-point games in the playoffs. I don't have the stat right in front of me. Maybe you remember it, one of you guys. But, he had 30 in game 1 or 32 in game 1. And he's had like 30 in game 1 of a series, like 8 or 9 consecutive series. But today he was 6 of 24. And he has had 11 games of 38 or more. That's awesome. He's had 14 games in his playoff career where he shot 33% or worse. And a lot of those games are 4 of 18, 6 of 22, today 6 of 24, like I said. And this has been, this is kind of been, and his teams have done this. He's played well early in series.